Hello, everyone. Welcome to our glorious Ashes of Creation December development update. We hope that you have all been having a wonderful December, and we're excited. We've got a lot of cool things to showcase. But first and foremost, obviously, welcome to our creative director, Stephen Sharif, as per usual. You're
Thank
back.
you.
Your house
I'm
looks so
excited to be
festive.
here. Oh, yeah. John never goes light on Christmas. We now have 4 Christmas trees in the house.
Didn't he have it
So,
already set up before Thanksgiving even happened?
yes, technically, actually, I believe the first Christmas tree went up on Halloween. So,
Yeah, he was super, super festive
and
about
and
it.
and we watched the Nightmare Before Christmas. So it was,
Oh,
it was perfect.
that's so cute. Brian, you're
Yes.
watching. I want that kind of relationship. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just calling him out. I'm just kidding.
I love the stream overlay
Yeah.
that
Oh,
Mike
this is your first
did.
time maybe seeing it.
Yeah,
So,
I haven't seen
yeah.
this yet. This
Mike
looks
did
great.
Mike did an amazing job. Mike is our graphics designer. If you've seen a lot of the graphics that we've done over the past few years, he is the one that does it all. So amazing.
Yeah,
And we
great
also have our
job,
video
Mike.
editor too, who has been putting together a lot of cool stuff too. So it's been exciting. It's cool seeing our team grow.
Yes.
And of course, I'm Margaret Crone. I'm your community marketing lead. And today we have quite a few things, but I want to remind you, if you're watching this over on YouTube, to make sure to subscribe to us. There's a bunch of you who are watching, but you're not subscribed. You don't want to miss out on any cool videos because we might have some coming in the upcoming days. And also following us on all of the places, all of our social channels. Get that out of the way.
I'm not
Today,
used to I'm not used to wearing this, by the way. Do I have
is
to
it
wear it the
weird?
whole stream? Because Margaret texted me this morning and said you have to wear something festive, and I said I don't have anything festive.
You
So
do. You have that. I tapped that shirt.
that's yeah. I think that's actually at the office because I took that off right after. I don't have it at home.
To give some context, it's a Magic the Gathering shirt that says
Yes,
that.
because you
It's a,
tap
like,
mana. You
yeah.
tap mana.
To give context for people who don't know
Right.
what I'm going on about, it's kind of like a ugly Christmas sweater. But honestly, no one's shirts were very ugly this year for Christmas. We got to call it something
No.
else, but
Yeah. I didn't see anybody with an ugly sweater actually.
yeah,
Was there
I don't
somebody
know.
with an ugly sweater? Oh, you
I
know who
don't.
had an ugly sweater? I think Alexi had an ugly sweater.
No, his was cool. It had like little Pepes everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Well,
If I
I
was
guess
voting,
that's
I would
true.
have voted his number one.
By the
Basically,
way,
we
I
have.
hope everyone has their eggnog.
Oh, I don't have
Do you have
eggnog, but I
eggnog?
have a cocoa mocha latte, like a hot
Mm.
cocoa with coffee.
Ooh, that
Mm,
eggnog. Ooh, that's pretty good.
yeah.
I think John snuck some like whiskey in that or something.
John,
Uh,
usually you're drinking out of like a wine glass with water in it. I'm like, it's not wine, guys.
no,
It's just water.
I have my Christmas glass. It's little
Little gnomies.
little gnomes. I was gonna say
Yeah.
dwarves, but yeah, I guess they're
They
gnomes,
are
you're
not
right.
dwarves.
Yeah,
Do
I
not
know.
start. Those are fighting words, sir.
Gnome dwarves.
Do not ever
They
call
could
those
have you ever
dwarves.
seen a
I will
half
fight
gnome,
you.
half dwarf?
No.
No, me neither. We should think of that.
What? Okay, anyways, reeling it back in.
Too much whiskey in the
We're
eggnog.
very
Sorry, go ahead.
excited for today, obviously. It's kind of the end. This is our last day of work for the season, and then we're going into like a little bit of a holiday for us at Intrepid. And then everyone's going to come back refreshed and revived for the new year. We have a lot of cool stuff planned for 2022. Yeah, 2022. Got the year right.
Is it 2022? Have we
Yeah.
time traveled?
It will be. It will be. We're
It will
coming
be.
to it. So we're going to go over some quick reminders: studio update, design update, environment art update, and character art update. And we'll also do a Q&A. We do have a lot of videos to show you today, so
Ooh, so many
buckle in.
videos. Ooh.
So
The delay is going to be worth it, I think. So I know we delayed a week, but
I was like, Steven, this is the first time I've had to like fully delay
I
a stream.
know, and
I was like,
I
"What?"
was
Making me
really
nervous.
I was really trepidatious also. And I like texted Margaret the day before the stream, and I was like, Margaret, I mean, this is a really off chance, it's likely not going to happen.
I
Maybe
was already prepared
5%.
for it when
I was
you
like,
said that.
it's 5% chance, but I just need to know, is it going to be okay if we push the stream a week?
And I was like, no,
She
but
was
we'll
like, well, my staff is gone for all
yeah,
next
all my
week.
all my staff is gone next week, so I'm alone. But I think Vaknar is actually here in chat assisting
Ah,
from
very
the
good.
airport. What a badass. Because he said he was bored, and I was like, all right, we'll just change your time off on the clock thing.
Yeah.
But so thank you, Vaknar, for working on chat moderation via the, I guess, airport.
Yep.
I don't know. But yeah, we have amazing staff. I think a bunch of them are actually watching this as a little watch party at the office too, to
Yeah, I
block
think
up the air.
Benoit brought in some like chocolate croissants. I'm actually sad I'm not there, but I think there's a little watch party going on in the
Yeah.
office.
Hi, guys. We love
Hello.
you. Thank you for all your hard work. So I'll just quickly go through our reminders and we'll get to it. So, of course, we had a web update on December 14th. If you didn't know, this may have caused some of you guys to have to put some information in when you log in the first time after this update. The reason for that is we've done a lot of SSO optimizations. We've also changed contact emails, so they're now unique per account. This is going to solve a lot of issues that we're having with people's accounts. I think there were some people who had multiple accounts and didn't realize they did. So we're just trying to fix that and adjust things because from like legacy stuff that was going on prior. We've also made a lot of error message changes and copy changes in order to ensure that that it's a little bit more clear of what's going on. And then also for security reasons, some of those things have been a little bit more blanketed. So they're not as obvious. And of course, we fixed a bunch of bugs that were coming up throughout the updates that we've been doing. And we have some future updates and future SSO changes that we're going to be doing in the upcoming months. So stay tuned for those. And we'll have probably a few other pages that are going to be updated, like the support page. The designs I mentioned are all approved, and now those have been starting to be implemented, and we're testing and doing a lot of back-end testing on those for ourselves internally before we push it live. Similarly to what we did with this update for the changes. So if you encounter any issues, please contact us via either our support Twitter or you can put in a ticket yourself. And for most things, we will want you to put a ticket in because we'll have to like look at data. Steven's like playing around with the scarf. You don't like it around your neck, huh?
No, actually, I've never really been a scarf person.
Yeah.
I
It is
like
weird
them
to wear
around.
like a scarf around the neck for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
So the next thing we have here is we do have our cosmetic swapping over. This will be the Frozen festivities on January 12th, 2022 at 11 a.m. So if you want to grab these, snag them up. Also, something that I noticed was that the costume is actually supposed to be blue, but it was red in the concept that we put out. So we're going to keep it red. But yeah, something that I noticed too late. We also have, I believe, new emotes. So if you hop on over to our Discord, and I think they're actually doing like a Discord watch party right now if you want to chat with people at the same time as watching this. We have some cool new emotes available for you guys based on some recommendations. So if you have other emotes that you'd like to see, let us know and we'll see what we can do about them. Fee and Nick are always ready to help you express your emotions and anger and love.
I like the rip ashes pile.
Yeah, you like that? I want an
Yeah,
animated version of it where it like the
it
ashes like
just like
show up.
trickles down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, we have our latest dev discussion that went out, which is how do you feel about in-game holidays that line up time-wise with out-of-game holidays? Do you prefer that your game world has a matching celebrations, or would you prefer to keep your real-world holidays away from the keyboard? And you guys gave a lot of great feedback on this. We've been compiling data on it, and we'll be sending that over to our lovely development team, and they'll be taking all of that into consideration. But if you still have ideas or thoughts, feel free to hop on over there and provide those to us. We always continue to keep those things updated. And our next one is going to be on griefing. I know this is a huge topic in the MMO space, so if you have thoughts, be prepared to bring them in our January's dev discussion because it's gonna be fire, I'm sure. And we also have kind of our last guild gatherings. We may bring these back again, but that will be it if the design team feels they need them. But this last one is how do you feel about spies and double agents? So, very spies and intriguey vibes. Definitely give us your feedback as much as possible over there, and we'll be wrapping up that shortly as well.
My guild always had ongoing joke that whenever we were in the middle of a raid or some type of like operation or whatever, and somebody would join the Discord or the TeamSpeak late, and they'd be like, "Hey guys, where are you at? Where am I porting to?" Everyone would be like, "Spy, spy, espion," because whenever we'd have always oftentimes in my play history, we would have spies constantly in the guild,
It's
and
because you
anytime
had spies in other
well,
guilds.
okay,
This
yes,
is
but I
karma.
had to. No, it wasn't karma. Mine was reactive. I had to have spies because they had spies. Um, but yeah, whenever we would show up for something and there would be a giant raid of people all prepared to fight us, we knew what was happening. So, yes.
And like the last thing that I have for reminders is that our content creator program applications are still open. We may be closing those in the future. So if you're a content creator, feel free to update that. Or if you already have applied, you can also edit if you have updated information that you want to share. And we'll keep you guys informed about that whenever we close it and we start going through those and inviting people in the future. So with that, I'm going to toss it over to you, Stephen, to go over studio updates.
Awesome. The studio update is amazing. Things have been going very well. This December, we've gotten a lot of stuff actually. It's interesting how as the year end kind of wraps up, everything kind of that you've been working on and has been kind of in pieces in like November and October, and you're like, oh, we're going to push this to January. It all just seems to like shore up and get in a nice spot and a good space and kind of a, close up, especially with what we've been working on that you guys are going to see, in this video we're going to show you here shortly.
Multiple videos.
Yeah. So it's been exciting to see the team hard at work. All of our accomplishments that we've had this year. 2021 was a huge year, and really the motivation at the studio, the morale is very high, and that's always great to see. Whenever you're part of a team that has incredible passion and you get to share that passion with
Everyone's so
everyone you work with.
sweet.
I know.
They were all sending messages to each other. And like
the congratulations.
Like, yeah, McPee's like, we're not done with the game yet, guys.
Yeah, I know.
he's like, no congratulations yet.
Yeah,
so
McPee, our lead programmer, he comes into one of our channels that we use to kind of focus on certain efforts or projects or whatever. He jumps into the channel after everyone's like, yeah, great job. I went in there.
Oh,
I'm
they're
like, outstanding
so
job.
sweet.
Everyone's like, great job. They're all little emotes, and McPee pops in and is like, we're not done with the game yet. There's no need to congratulate each other now.
He's such a troll, though. Everyone knows he's trolling.
I know, he's trolling. But I told him, I said, McPee, don't be a Scrooge for Christmas. Congratulations are in order. But yeah, especially McPee, because he did a lot of hard work on one of those, one of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the studio updated things are going great. It's nice to be back in studio. Obviously, we're keeping an eye on COVID and what's been happening with that, and we're taking precautions. But it's great to be part of a team where everyone's passionate about what they're doing. And this year has been a particularly illuminating one because of the accomplishments. Things are going good on the hiring front. Things are going well there. We've had a few new additions to the team that started in December. We have a few new that are coming up in January. We're going to be kicking off the new year with a pretty heavy focus on staffing up even more, significantly more. The project is obviously Ashes. Making an MMO is a big thing, and making Ashes of Creation is a particularly big thing. So
a lot of systems.
You need a lot of hands on deck, and it's great because we already have such talented devs, and we're getting a lot of a great talent pool in the applications that we receive, and interest from the industry and the community, and you guys all helping on that front. So big kudos
on that
to you
front,
guys.
The big question that everyone constantly asks us is in regards to a lead designer. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah.
I just know that that's a question that's going to be asked.
Absolutely.
That's not what we're announcing today on the screen.
No, that's a great question. Obviously a lead designer is a very important aspect to the development. Right now, I've been assuming a lot of those responsibilities, also delegating a lot of those responsibilities out to my senior designers who are very talented. Our design team is an awesome, fantastic team. We have incredible talent there. For me, I'm a very calculated individual. When I move forward on something, I don't need to rush it. I don't need to settle. So for me, it's a process that's going to take time. And when I've landed on an individual, either internally from a promotion standpoint or externally, candidates that we've gone through and met with and interviewed, several of them who have even flown out to the studio and gotten pretty far in the process. For me, Ashes is my baby. And, I want to make sure that one of the very most important roles is held by an individual that I can trust with that baby. So it's going to be a process, but when we find someone that I'm comfortable with, you guys will be made aware.
Took him how many years to get me to work for community management? So I think.
See? But good thing we waited.
I don't know. It was a lot for us to come in and work on. But I think,
it was great.
Yeah, it was. I actually saw a comment in the chat that was like, "How is this community so lovely already?" And I was like, "Oh, our community is just amazing." And obviously, the community team and our volunteer mods have been wonderful at building up this community, and the content creators within our community. Like, we just can't express how thankful we are. We like constantly tell you guys this, but it's just awesome to have a community that's very invested. And
Absolutely.
when we give you answers, you spread those answers to other people, so we're not having to be in there 24/7 like answering stuff. We do try to be, and I think people notice that we are kind of in all of the spaces. We have a very small team, but we try our best to be on every social platform and interacting with you guys on a daily basis and answering your questions. So we hope that you enjoy that.
Yeah.
Anything else on the studio update side?
No, I think that's it. I think people want to know why we delayed by a week the stream for an announcement.
Yeah, let's talk about that and move into the design segment.
Ooh. I've actually had a lot of fun.
My heart's racing.
Oh, don't say that. You're gonna make my heart race.
Always races before our live streams. I'm always so nervous. But
I know. I'm a little bit nervous too. But honestly, it's very exciting, and I'm really happy with the opportunity to share this with the community. It was really fun watching over this last week since we made the delay announcement for the stream. All the speculation, and I would say of that speculation,
there were quite a few people who got it.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say about 40 or 50% of the conversation was about the correct thing.
So kudos to you guys.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Gals and pals.
So before we show it, I will talk a little bit about this. Obviously, the decision that we're going to reveal to you here shortly was something that we have been contemplating over since last year, actually. And it took a lot of evaluation, and it took a lot of well, actually, I'll explain it after the video.
Let's kind of had a strike team that was working on this too.
Let's. I think people are excited and want to see the video, so we can cut to the video.
Frequently asked questions too, so we'll answer those questions, and I'll also take note of any questions that you guys ask in chat if they're not part of that list, and I'll also ask those as well. So.
Now, I want to be clear. This video is about. I'm going to preface it just a little bit. This video is about 20 minutes long. It's me running through a new environment, actually, that you guys haven't seen, a new area of the world, one particular point of interest, and a very large tower or whatnot. I know everyone loves to see the new mount, so I did make sure to include some of that in this video.
You're such a troll. When I was watching the video and I saw the part, I was like, Steven.
So really, the announcement is about how we actually go about making mounts. So those of you guys who guessed how mounts are made, you really were spot on. So well done there. Anyways,
I was like, Steven, I'm gonna beat you up. No, just kidding. No more mounts.
But yeah, we can cut to the video. We'll talk a lot about it afterwards. And yeah, we'll
see you in about 18 minutes.
Welcome everyone to our final update video for the year of 2021. And what a year it has been. We are ending it with quite a significant update. Yes, as you saw, we have officially begun the migration for Ashes of Creation to Unreal Engine 5. Now, we've actually been evaluating the move to UE5 since last year, but our focus was really on getting the project ready for Alpha 1, so we didn't have much time to evaluate UE5. No! No! Bad deer! Not like this. Hold on, I'm sorry. Yes, okay, go away. Go back. Perfect. Why are you stopping there? Alright. So as I was saying, we didn't really have time to evaluate UE5 until actually after our Alpha 1 finished in August. The decision obviously was an important one, and right after our Alpha concluded, I created a strike team to assess our options and the best path forward for Ashes. The team spent much of August and September weighing the benefits and risks with such a move, and ultimately we ended up with a unanimous decision to move forward with the initial migration. So in October, our engineers began the process of merging our custom code base over to UE5, spearheaded by our glorious lead programmer McP. And I am happy to now show you Ashes in Unreal Engine 5. As you can see, we are in a different biome, one that you may not have seen before. Actually, you might have seen this. You might have seen some glimpses of it in the past videos, but I figured this area would be a pretty good one given the holiday season, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, of course. Shout out to our Aussie and Kiwi friends who are enjoying the start of summer. But as you can see, the weather systems actually are present in this area at the moment, which normally would give me some pause as a player. You know, would have to consider the type of effects that cold weather would have on my spells and my character's well-being. But here is Ashes in Unreal Engine 5. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool to be here. Now, there's some creatures here, obviously, that we need to steer clear of. But I wanted to show off some of the initial work on implementing Lumen and Nanite into the world. I heard there's a cave up ahead we should check out. Maybe some massive tower with a giant dungeon underneath it. You know, who knows what we might find. Actually, you know what? Maybe we should change our clothing. This guy looks like he might be a little cold. Let's see if okay, wear this one. I might blend in with the snow then. Let's see. Gloves. Oh, that's a little bit better. Is there anything else? No, that's pretty good. Should we have a staff or a wand? No, the staff's pretty cool. But it is a blue wand, so let's do that. Now, I'm not going to show off some of the updates to combat. Obviously, there's been a significant amount of work that's being done from a prototyping perspective on a lot of the combat changes, and there will be opportunities for us to kind of show that in the future over the coming months. But I did want to show off, actually, speaking of changes, what you just saw there was some changes to the locomotion in the game. Let me turn off UI, make it a little bit more beautiful. 1 second. Maybe I can turn off, oh, you can see there's some footprints there as well. Got some footprints in the snip. Let me turn off the nameplates as well. Be gone. Alright. We shall not be bothered any further with them. Oh my god. I just told you to leave me alone. So, we're going to enter this cave conflict. And as I was talking a little bit about the locomotion, the character's locomotion, you can see there's been some changes. We have footsteps, we have some tilting to the side when you move around. You can crouch. Must crouch. You can also do some cool. Hold on, I'll show it up here. We get up here. A little bit of mantling, maybe. But as you can see, the lumen, which is one of the global illumination features that UE5 offers, and is likely going to be most noticeable in dungeons, as it's going to do a better job than the Skylight Actor, which historically was exclusively used for world indirect illumination everywhere. The lumen actually provides a pretty realistic approach to lighting. Utilizing dynamic global illumination makes the world come alive, as you can see here. Oh, okay, we have some plants. What are the plants even doing here? Why? Oh. We made it through. I can stay back there. There's more of them. No. Die! Oh, I feel bad now. They were attacking me. Alright, let's take a look at some of the changes with the mantling. We can now jump up these cool obstacles. Oh, it looks like there's been some corruption kind of seeping in here. That's kind of concerning. Just a little bit. But as you can see, the effects of... Oh my god. Okay, let me just dodge these guys real quick so I can get a stupid spot. Get us up here. No. There we go. Alright. As you can see, taking a look up here, Lumen has done a great job in really bringing to life this area. As you can see, there's light bouncing off of the surfaces and kind of casting into the rest of the cave, which is a pretty cool effect. What's up here? It feels terrible killing these guys, but you know, what am I gonna do? So take a look at the visual differences. I mean, the great thing is, you know, you can go back. I love how you can also see the detail in the costume and the cloth that we have now. But you can go back and compare kind of the graphical fidelity that's in Alpha 1, and take a look at this video, and I think we'll have another little trailer that kind of goes through the area and the world, showing off a lot of this updated visual stuff. I mean, honestly, I've played a lot of MMOs in my days. And I cannot tell you just how exciting it is to see these types of graphics now, especially with the hard work of really talented individuals over at Epic, who do a great job with Unreal Engine, and now this latest development with UE5 is really presenting some next generation visual. Come through here. I mean, look at this. I love the effects that Jim did with the falling rocks. It's like a stream of dirt. What is happening to these rocks? Oh yes, shower me. Shower me. Looks like corruption's kind of seeping in all over the place actually in this area, which is concerning. There we go. Okay, I was told that there is somewhere over here. No, here's one other thing about the Manson, by the way. You can kind of jump and attach to the surface. So as you're like jumping off of a ledge or falling down the side of some crazy mountain, you can grasp onto something maybe. Nope. No, stop. Can't you see I'm trying to record a video? Let's see. Oh! Oh! That was masterful. Masterful, I tell you. Just literally by the skin of my teeth. I mean, I love the lighting. Let me through. Look at this. It is beautiful. Alright, go away. Oh my god, they're subterranean. Yep. Why are there so many plants in here? Where is this tower at? Whoa! Do they not have a leash range? I see. Nope. You know what we're gonna do? I think it's time, perhaps that we take flight. Oh, that's beautiful. Is that the tower? That's not the tower. This is the entrance to some type of dungeon. Oh, by the way, Drake of the Canopy. I believe you've seen this guy in the past. He is a beautiful beast. A loyal beast. Smart. Loyal. I mean, honestly, this is... You guys gotta let me know what you think of this in chat and in the comments of this video. But it is beautiful. And you know, the great thing is I'm running a 2080 right now. I upgraded. And the frames are doing great. Let me... Thought I turned off nameplate. Alright, I think there's a tower up ahead. Is this the tower reveal? That, my friends, is a tower. Look at that. You know, the levels inside and the dungeon that lies beneath this is going to claim a lot of lives. Lines. Who knows? But I heard that there's some great surprise for us up at the top. Let me see. You know what? We might just cheat and fly up. What do you guys think? Oh, you know, actually, this would not be an update without some mounts. Let me show you some mounts. It's a skinwalker. Say hello to this little guy. Very, very pretty. This is our dear friend, Carmine Chameleon. I believe he has a crazy tongue. Oh, that guy's great. Let's see his run. Oh my gosh! I love his run. This guy's so cool. Alright, wait for it. He doesn't have steps for some reason. The steps don't drop. Let us fly. Cheating and going to the top of the tower. There's no monsters over here. What is that? Is that what I think it is? Is that a Christmas tree? Oh, that looks awesome. Oh, you know what? Wait, one more. Demonstrator. He's very festive. Look at him. Aw. It's a Christmas tree. Yes. How awesome is that? What is in this present over here? Let me walk up to it. Oh my goodness! It's a UE5 surprise. Oh. Well, everyone, I hope you guys enjoyed this little glimpse of a new biome, new area, the announcement for Unreal Engine 5. There's a lot of amazing and exciting things coming up in 2022. The team has been hard at work in prepping for Alpha 2, and we cannot wait to show you more of everything we've been working on. Hope you all stay well and safe, enjoy the holidays, and have an awesome new
hope that you all enjoyed it. From the looks of the chat, we think you did. But I did see quite a few questions. So if you don't mind me, Stephen, going ahead and asking those.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Open to it
Obviously,
100%.
first and foremost is how does this upgrade to UE5 affect the Ashes of Creation release timeline? We knew that this question was going to be a question that came up. I saw a couple
Sure.
people asking it.
Yeah, it's a good question. So first, before I get into the question, I just want to say that, while we completed the majority of migrating from UE4 to UE5, and officially the entire development team will be on UE5 come the first or second week of January. What we wanted to show you here was that a lot of that legwork had already been done. Now, that doesn't mean that the art teams have had an opportunity to really employ Lumen and Nanite across the entirety of the game yet, but we did take this area in the world and we did incorporate some of the Lumen and Nanite in that giant tower structure and the dungeon assets that you saw, the entrance stuff. So you're seeing Lumen and Nanite at work there. And obviously, this is going to get in maybe into a little bit more on the technical side. Obviously not everybody's interested in hearing a lot of the technical stuff, but I'm happy to go into it a little bit.
Yeah, and we do
Um,
have our recommended specs on our KB articles on our support page if you want to check that out. That has not changed, but if those do change at any point, we will update them for you guys and we'll make sure you're all notified of that change.
Absolutely. So on the question of timeline and how moving to UE5 will affect kind of what our internal anticipated delivery date is. So a big portion of this is there's a lot of front end work that's necessary for us, front loaded, so to speak, as we're doing the migration over, as we're taking a look at our assets and converting them over into Nanite. But in the long run, what this provides Ashes of Creation, what it provides the project is continued support on a new engine from Epic for UE5, right? You have to understand UE4 began development like I think 2004 or 2005 and released in, I think it was about 8 or 9 years ago. So while UE4 is a great engine, there are certain focuses and technological endeavors that Epic is doing on UE5 that won't necessarily be supported by UE4. And we want to make sure, given the lifespan of Ashes and how long we intend this MMO to last, that when we made this decision early on during the development process, that we weren't going to exacerbate the amount of effort it would take to move over later in the lifespan or after launch for the MMORPG. So it made most sense for us to do this now during our alpha stage of development, right? There's a few things that are really integral to what Ashes is doing. So first and foremost, there's large world support that's intended in UE5 that was not present in UE4. Previously in UE4, there were some constraints on the size of an open world that you could have available before you ran into some issues. And, obviously we were supplementing that constraint, which was around 20 kilometers squared with an underrealm, right? However, one of the other main components that, and UE5 doesn't have that constraint, right? We're able to do a much larger world in that sense. So that's an important aspect. The other thing is the pipeline, the way in which developers work in UE4 was through a sub-level system, right? Where you had to check out a sub-level and only one developer at a time could work within that sub-level. However, UE5 now utilizes the world loading in cells rather. And this allows for artists and designers working to be able to work in the same level without having to lock it to just one person at a time. That's a huge benefit
Huge.
given the nature of what an MMO is, right? And how much exists really in these sublevels or now cells.
Yeah,
And
from a
it really,
workflow standpoint, it's like basically in Perverse, I have to check something out. And then in order for someone else to check it out, they have to like message me and be like, hey, can you check that in so that I can check that out? Because I need to
right.
implement my thing.
Or
It's
this person left for the day and they won't be back until the morning and I need need that.
And they've
They
checked it
have this
out, and
checked out.
yeah,
Right. Yep.
it's
So
yeah,
it's a major pipeline improvement in just the sheer capacity of people who can work on it on a particular location in the world at one time. So as I was saying, what effect does this have on the timeline of Ashes of Creation? As I said, there's going to be a few months where we're taking stock of everything that needs to be migrated over, and we're addressing some of the bugs that come with that type of migration and moving the project over. There's going to be some bugs and stuff that's present. But in the long run, it will significantly improve the development process. And that was a major point in kind of, how we came to this conclusion. And just to give you a little bit of background, right? Obviously last year, we have a very close working relationship with Epic. Great team over at Epic, very talented individuals, amazing company. And, we kind of it's important for us to always keep on top of the latest technologies. It's important for us to, we pride ourselves in keeping up with that latest
yeah.
tech
And
so
people
that
have been
we can,
asking us about Unreal 5 for like
right.
ever. I mean, you guys have been
Yes.
asking, and we've been continuing to tell you every live stream for the past few months that we're looking into it, but we don't want to make hasty decisions, right?
Right, absolutely. I mean, we have the luxury of not having to make hasty decisions, right? We don't need to rush something out to the public that's not going to be a good experience. And ultimately, the purpose of priding ourselves in keeping up with the latest tech is that we can deliver the best experience to our players, right? That's a very important, point for us. When Alpha 1 ended in August, I commissioned our strike team, which consisted of some artists, our leads, and engineers, to go take a look at what it would mean to migrate over to UE5. And they spent the better part of August and September doing that, and then presenting me with a recommendation, which was unanimous, to make the move to UE5. Vetting all the components that UE5 has to offer and the benefits it would bring to the project. So that's kind of, over October and November, that's when McP and the engineers began to do the base migration of our custom code base into UE5, see where there were any major issues. The great thing about UE5 is that it's mainly focused around updating the renderer, right? Giving access to Nanite, Lumen, global illumination. Like those are big components. There's other great aspects of it, but really it's a front end change, and it doesn't affect our networking layer. It doesn't affect our back end, code. So, yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the benefits too of it. Um, there are some questions here. Actually, well, let's go through all the UE5 ones, and then I'll ask about some other stuff that people asked in chat. This one's a pretty quick one. Will the upgrade to UE5 affect the supported operating systems? A lot of people are like, Linux, question mark?
No, that really doesn't play a factor. Um, unfortunately, there's the harsh reality of those of that additional operating system support, is that there's just not a lot of players. There's not a lot of Linux users out there, from a player base. So it's something that we'll evaluate in the future. I haven't ruled it out necessarily. It would see how much work it would take to do that, but really, like, less than 1% of the player base is using Linux as an operator, as
Yeah.
an OS.
And we
But
constantly get the console question as well. And we're always telling you guys, like, currently we're focused on PC. If we do end up later down the line, expanding to console, we'll let you guys know. Let's do one thing at a time. Next up, we have, how will the upgrade to UE5 impact the game's required and recommended specs? We just talked about that a little bit, but I don't know if you want to go into more details about that.
you know, the thing about the spec is, obviously we want to make the game as accessible to everyone. And in that sense, the scalability settings and the options that players will have to play the game at different quality levels is going to be the big part of that question. Our goal is still, to that end, to make it as accessible as possible. So I don't yet know what impact it's going to have on our recommended minimum spec. I know we have some guidance on that in our knowledge panel and FAQ section of the website.
Hmm.
It's possible that that may change. And, you know, we'll update obviously as soon as we know what those changes are.
Yeah. If they're changed, we'll let you know. We'll post on the support site as well as on the support Twitter and stuff like that. And we'll let you guys know. But right now, as is, that is our min spec. You can go check it out over on our support page. Yeah. Beyond that, I know you kind of talked a little bit about this, but I don't know if
Sure.
you want to. It's a big question, and we could be here all day talking about it. But what is the process for upgrading from UE4 to UE5? People are kind of wondering if that's going to
Yeah,
affect us. If
that's
it's
a it's that's a
Yeah,
big question.
is it going to take us longer for development versus you know?
Yeah, the process begins initially obviously with vetting what aspects of our code base and project have bugs in part of this migration. That's something that engineers have obviously been spearheading as part of October and November's work. Got a lot of that addressed, especially by McP. He did a great job on that front. um, so I think that we will likely be releasing some blog come the new year that kind of details out what that process looked like, moving from UE4 to UE5. It might be something that we do in collaboration with Epic, and they showcase. We'll see. But it is a comprehensive process, and it does have implications on the art side. We have a significant amount of assets that have been created, obviously, for Ashes of Creation being as large of a game as it is. And there's going to be some taking stock of those and seeing what's compatible from an Nanite perspective, as well, utilizing chaos. And there's a lot of stuff there that we want to take advantage of, and is going to take some a little bit of front end time, like I said, front loaded time to do.
All right. Now to go into some more things. Are we using UE5 early access or waiting for the full release? I think we
We're using early
pretty
access.
obvious
Yep.
that we're using the early access. And now I'm going to go into like kind of some questions in regards to like what are some of these pieces that are beneficial for us.
Sure.
So obviously the first part is what is nanite and how will that improve the visual effects that people are seeing right here on the stream actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Nanite brings us really an entirely new approach to rendering and art workflows. Now we can render more actors with extremely high detail while eliminating the need to bake out normal map textures. For artists, essentially, what this means is that they can import high quality sculpted meshes directly into Unreal 5 without really having to reduce the poly count, making the workflow more efficient while simultaneously improving the quality of the art. For example, the tower scene that you saw, that's made up of over, I think it's like 5 or 6 million polygons. So the level of detail that the assets would normally have had to make for that tower are automatically handled by Nanite. It's a pretty powerful tool.
Awesome. My
Yeah,
next question here, and I think after this question, I may have another video that I want to show people,
sure.
and then we'll talk about that as we're showing that video. So, what is lumen, and how will that improve the lighting?
Um, Lumen gives us a much more realistic approach to lighting. It utilizes a dynamic global illumination that, as you can see in the video, really brings the world to life. The previous global illumination methods, such as ray tracing, GI, were too expensive, but Lumen helped solve that problem in Unreal 5. Global illumination essentially stimulates light by bouncing off of a surface and reflecting that light and the color from the surface into the surrounding area. So Lumen's effects are most noticeable in dungeons. Um, it does a better job than the skylight actor, which historically was exclusively used for world indirect illumination everywhere. Skylight captures the lighting contribution of the sky, except the direct light coming from the sun, and it uses that in a dungeon, it was very inaccurate, right? So
Yeah,
what
because
it
you don't
boils
have
down,
you don't actually have the sun in the dungeon either.
right, exactly. And essentially what it boils down to is that Lumen is going to greatly improve the visual fidelity and performance of the game, with a reduced work and effort that's required by the art team, making Ashes of Creation much more beautiful than in UE4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a couple other questions that were asked from the community, so I'm gonna ask those, and then we'll go into this video that I want to show you guys next. So the first question is, as you're kind of seeing in this video, well, earlier you were seeing it, Stephen had showcased some of the new locomotion changes that are happening, which you're seeing when he's like climbing on things and touching objects and interacting with them and jumping over them or under them.
Mhm.
Um, how do you think that those locomotion changes will affect PvP? Some of the PvPers were concerned, had a little bit of concern in regards to that.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the intent behind anything we implement in the game is going to be towards the end of our systems. PvP is a very important system in Ashes of Creation. So as we kind of play with this new ability, from a design perspective, we're going to want to make sure, obviously, it doesn't impact negatively the idea of PvP. So really what it provides, in my opinion, as a person who enjoys PvP, is it adds additional dynamics to what is possible from your opponent or from yourself. If there's a ledge and jumping off that ledge is going to deal a lot of damage to me when I hit the ground, and that puts me at a significant disadvantage, maybe I have an option to jump off the ledge at a point where I can mantle onto the side of a cliff or something. Now, the give and take there is I won't be able to use my skills while I'm mantled, right? I won't be able to react easily, but I didn't have to take the fall damage per se. Or if there's an obstruction and I'm going to take a significant reduction in speed so that I can crouch and make it past that, and now I have a effective line of sight has been obstructed as a result of that decision. I think it adds interesting elements to the battlefield. And the key here is going to be making sure that it's not cumbersome, that it doesn't feel opposite of the flow of combat in PvP, right? That's something that's going to take some finesse. It's something that's going to take some testing. It's something that we're going to prototype with. But the functionality that's been implemented with the efforts of Alex Cudoli, one of our senior engineers, and our lead animator, Chris Myers, they've done a great job in getting this implemented. And now it is a tool in the tool set that design has to work with. And is it possible that we might come back and design says, look, there wasn't a way for us to make these additional functionalities congruent with our flow of PvP? Yeah, of course. There's always that potential. But it's been interesting to play with thus far.
All right. And then the next question here we have is UE5 going to change any aspect of class abilities, spells, etc., that need to be completely reworked?
Um, Not that I can think of. No. Um, One thing that might be incorporated as part of the class skills and abilities, going forward, is the application of Lumen and how those abilities from a visual effects standpoint kind of interact with the surrounding area and its illumination. That could be interesting. But from a functionality standpoint, no, I wouldn't say that there's going to be any implications from a change to UE5.
Yeah. All right. I think that kind of encompasses a lot of the UE5 specific questions that were being asked in chat. And to kind of recap, because I think some folks were a little confused about like whether this is going to affect our timeline in the long run of things. And basically, to like kind of recap what Stephen was saying is in the forefront right now, we will have a couple months where we are fixing bugs and as we integrate and change over to UE5. But in the long run, this is actually going to save us much more time. One of the examples that he gave is a really good example of being having multiple artists be able to work and check out a area and work on that. That means multiple people can be working on that area at the same time versus right now they would, or not right now, previously when we had UE4, they could only one person could check out those places at a time in order to build out the world. So just giving that as an example, he gave a few other examples as well. We are going to be in the long run able to produce the project in a much faster timeline.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that you know our objective with Ashes of Creation is to create an amazing game that is going to, in the words of Sid Meier, stand the test of time, right? I'm sorry, I'm a huge Sid fan.
Yeah, I love
But
Firaxis games. Their
I know,
development team is cool too. Good
I
people.
know. So in that sense, we're not compelled by some, publisher imposed launch date or some investment board, coming and saying this has to be done by this day. The focus here for me and for our team is to create a product that the users are going to love, that you guys in the community have been asking for a long time, something that's not inundated with pay to win mechanics, something that is not predatory in monetization, that doesn't have aspects of gameplay and MMO, something that answers the call of MMO players, right? And in doing that, we want to make the best product possible. UE5 from a support standpoint is very important in that regard, right? When we talk about the timeline of the game, I have said since 2020, or since the end of 2019, that the game is going to be ready when it's ready, and we're going to keep you abreast of the updates, the changes, the development, the progress every month, as we've done, and our amazing community team has helped to facilitate, right?
Yeah.
So you guys get to see the game evolve and the game come to life over time. And one of the promises that I want to keep is that that launch is not going to be mired in problems, that the game is
Ooh.
going to stay true. Exactly, the game is going to stay true
We'll have
to,
bugs. Everyone has
of
bugs.
course,
Yeah.
no,
I just want to
I
make that
think
clear.
I think the player base
Well,
knows what I'm talking about with certain games
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
that should not have been launched when they were launched.
And we've seen a lot of games have a lot of server problems, and I think that's why we focus so much on those server stability problems and issues during our Alpha 1 and previous pre-alpha
Right, and
testing.
I want to make sure I'm not trying to be salty, and I'm not trying to like call out any specific games, because it's not just one. There've been many.
Yeah.
If you've been an MMO player for any amount of period of time, you have experienced the games that should have been kept in
Some
the oven a
not
little
even
longer.
MMO games.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, this is
Launch days are rough.
it's not just launch days. It is the project themselves that needed more time to develop.
Oh, for sure.
Launch day problems are understood. That's fine. We know there's going to be I think players
You're
are
saying
pretty
when like a
forgiving.
project launches and it isn't quite ready for launch. It's getting
Exactly.
rushed
I
because of
think I think
timelines. Yeah.
players are going to be forgiving of launch issues, especially when those launch issues are derived from high player populations, right? And being inundated with a lot of players. I think we're really forgiving of that. But it's when you get into the details of the game's designs, when you get into the details of, what bugs made it past QA, like those types of things, anyways, my point
Yeah.
is that long-term gains in the development process, we feel, and the assessment feels, are going to make up for the short-term front-loaded work that's necessary for this migration.
Yeah, and I guess the follow-up question to that, because I do see a lot of people ask this question, even like non-stream days, is in regards to the long-term aspect of it. Funding, I think, is always the concern there. Obviously, you've said that, we're not going to launch till we're ready. So basically, until
Yes.
Steven's like, I love this game, it is my future, and I'm going to play it
Yes,
every day of my
that's
life,
right.
we're not launching. And so what coincides with that is how are you funding that? And I think a lot of people have questions in regards to that. I don't know if you're willing to share
Sure.
that aspect of it,
The
but yeah.
bottom line is I am committed to this project's success and completion. And that means that when it comes to funding for the additional years that perhaps were not planned for, that's coming out of mine and John's pocket. And we're okay with that, because what we see in front of us is not only a team of extremely talented individuals, but also a community that is extremely passionate about the project and wanting to see it come to fruition. It's not just about what our personal desires are, John and myself being MMO players, but really it's about the fact that we've created a following, a community of players who want the same thing or similar to the same thing. And that's something that's at the forefront of my mind anytime I walk into work, is how is what we're doing today going to impact the players tomorrow? That's a very important question. It's a product driven development aspect. And I believe, based on the millions of players we already have, pre-registered for the game,
Yeah.
that Ashes of Creation is going to be one of the most successful and largest launches in MMO history. So, I
No
think,
pressure. Knock
hey,
on wood.
let me just tell you real quick, I operate real well under pressure. So
Okay.
please bring on all the pressure. But yeah. So,
And to give some context, John is our CFO, because people are asking. People who
yes.
are, I noticed there's a lot of new people. If you're new here, give us a good follow, and follow us on all of the other places on YouTube,
John is
etc.
technically our president and CFO.
Oh, president and CFO.
Yes, that's right.
And as folks said in the chat, that's also Stephen's husband.
Yes, this is
um,
true.
but
Hey, it's fun
that's
to work
separate.
with your husband. It's fun.
Yeah, I think so. It can be both intense and also fun. um, all right, so I think that covers the questions, and I think I've did enough follow up on some of the ones that weren't clear to folks. So if you have others, feel free to pop those into chat, and I will snag them. In regards to UE5, I know you guys have lots of other questions. And I want to show off this other video that we have. I know Clayton worked very, very hard on it. And so I don't know if you want to give a little bit of a preface of what people are about to see, and then we'll showcase it and talk over the video as we're showing it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we gave actually a little bit of an update on this stuff back in, what was it, September or was it October?
It
I don't remember.
was, I believe, September. Yes.
Got
In
it.
September showcase.
So this was about essentially, how we're going to perform from a rendering perspective, all of the characters we want to see in battle on screen, right? Now, obviously, this goes above and beyond what most players are going to want to see anyways, right? You're probably only ever going to see a few hundred on your screen at a given time. But the idea is for us to create, our objective was 250 versus 250. I believe we have accomplished a significant majority of that objective in Alpha 1.
So
We had a
Stephen's
castle.
like, more.
Well,
You can see him back there.
you want to put, the technology that allows us to scale, right, scales to a point. And I think that point is beyond what our objective was. And that's a good thing. So now let's see how far we can push it. And part of what Clayton Stamper has been working on, who's one of our engineers, with regards to, combining the player materials, which was previously, requiring, draw calls for chest, shirt, bracer, shoulder, legs, boots, helmet, face, body, that's all now been combined into a single material. And every single character is rendered using a single material. And, essentially the GPU only gets to expect one call per player instead of the one call per piece of equipment on that player. So I don't know if we have the video of his update.
I'll play it while you're talking over it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So like I said, in September, we showcased that merge materials shader, which brought draw calls from 12 previously per player down to 1 draw call per player by accepting material parameters from each modular section, the gloves, the legs, as I described before. The next step obviously was excuse me, implementing that shader for the player so that they could change pieces of armor and have that update the material parameter dynamically. The final step, which is what you're seeing now, was extracting that code from the player and re-implementing it in a generalized way that can be used for any object in the game that needs a modular appearance. So what you're seeing here showcases the new modular appearance component, which can combine any set of meshes and materials into a single mesh and single material at runtime. What you're looking at is over 1,300 different entities, different actors. These are simulated players, essentially. Previously, you saw the example, they were just standing still. There was no animation, there was no effects, there was no environment.
It was 1,000,
right? And it was 1,000, right? Yeah. This is 1,300 playing animations, playing effects. Now, this isn't, again, just to
plus
clarify, this is plus the environment, which is nanite in this example. So what you're seeing is all of these players moving around and doing something, and you're seeing the frame rate at about 30 on Clayton's rig, which I think is running at 1080. And obviously all
I told him I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. You might want to take some Dramamine before you watch this video.
The merge process, by the way, here is multi-threaded, and it won't cause any hitching thanks to something that Zach Mallett has done, and it could theoretically work for any modular appearance, from characters to mounts, weapons, even boats. Since this was built as a data-driven component, designers and artists get to make the infinite combinations of the appearances for any object without support from engineering, which is a big process
Super awesome.
aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're seeing in this demo isn't players; they're entities. As I said before, they have 2 to 3 modular different appearance components attached to them, with data telling each component to generate a random character appearance and play combat animations. An example of how this can be applied to the actual siege, that each player, will have modular appearance components for their body. They'll also have modular appearance components for their custom built weapons and riding a mount with, custom appearances as bred through the animal husbandry system, all of which are running on a single draw call. And that allows the GPU to render modular meshes pretty efficiently. So this is work to accommodate the rendering side. So this isn't the server side stuff, right? This is rendering. This is
Not
your
network traffic
computer
stuff.
showing you other players and how many other players we can show you, and the different costumes that they'll wear and the different mounts that they'll have, and still be performant, right? It's one thing to say we're going to have 500 player battles, and it's another thing to only see 30 people at a given time in that 500 player battle. So we want to make sure that we're able to allow players to really see these massive battles. Hopefully that explains a lot.
Yeah. I think the follow-up question people did have
technical.
was in regards to network traffic and the impact of that, having that many players on it. I know that's separate from the UE5 stuff,
that's a totally different thing than even what we're seeing here, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
something that is on the back end, on the network layer, how we're optimizing the traffic between, the client's computer and the network and the server, and then we're replicating that data down to other players. Movement's a big component of that. There's a lot of aspects of custom code that's been done from the team to help facilitate these large battles, and everything that we do, from a even starting at design, right, is with the objective of having these large battles. So when we talk about our server architectures, when we talk about our networking layer, when we talk about, those types of things, how they facilitate these ideas of having large player battles.
Hopefully that helped you and answered your questions. And I do see a lot of repeat questions in there, so hopefully mods can answer some of those. But yeah,
This is a more technical stream, so I
it was very
apologize
much.
for those of you guys who are falling asleep and it's just like, just show me more videos. I'm sorry.
And obviously this is going a bit longer, so thank you for bearing with us. A little extra longer treat for you this December. I think that's all I have really on the design side, unless you have anything extra you'd like to talk
And that
about.
was a little bit on the engineering.
I know
actually.
that design and engineering are also working on a lot of other things beyond just what we're showcasing today with Unreal. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
It's a lot.
How long do we want the stream to be?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say one of the other things that probably will be coming up next month or the month thereafter, if it isn't ready by next month, but it probably will be, is a huge update on the character customization. Zach, Adam, Jinsey, Atkins, the animation team with Myers, and there's been a lot of work put into character customization, getting that ready, and it's been actually really fun to see. Zach's been sending me examples of, and Clayton's been working on that front as well a little bit, has sent me over examples of like custom faces that he's made that are like celebrity faces, just to see the capability. I asked them last, I think I asked them, was it last month? What is this, December? I asked them at the beginning of this month, when I was getting a review update on the character customization work. I was like, one thing we should consider is, as this is ready in a standalone client to hand out and get people start working on character customization, it'd be great to hand that out to like focus group testers who can go and make like custom examples of celebrities or whatever that
people
they like.
want to do contests. So
yeah, exactly.
we were thinking like we could do like put like some nice photos of like some of our staff and then have a contest to see who could make it as close as possible.
I'd be really concerned about that. Don't include me in the photo. But anyways, but giving that out and seeing what limitations they experience, right? What were they not capable of doing? And then we adjust the parameters of the customization to accommodate those desires. So yeah.
Yeah. And they did share with me a little bit of an update on that front, but like Steven said, it's not quite ready to share yet. We also have a lot of other things down the pipeline for you guys, some more prototyping that's happening on the design side and engineering side. So we will be showcasing those in the future months as we get closer to being ready for that. Without further ado, I think we move on from the design side. We will have these videos available over on our YouTube channel. After this live stream is done, we will have the walkthrough available for you in the 4K resolution, so you can go ahead and watch that. Some of the other content will come out later, and the full live stream will probably be up on YouTube tomorrow because it's going to take some time for it to render, especially for how long we're going right now. So
Yeah, I think the 20-minute long video, is that going up after
I
the
already
stream?
have it uploaded and ready to go. So
Perfect.
I just have to
Awesome.
push live when we're done. Yeah.
And that's in 4K. So when the stream is over, feel free to take a look at the YouTube video that we watched here. Again, you can see it in
Subscribe
4K.
over there too. I know a bunch of I see the stats. There's a bunch of you watching who aren't subscribed. Um, calling you
Margaret's
out.
gonna come after you. She's coming for you.
I'm just kidding. We were just looking over our monthly reports, and I was like, man, that's a lot of people that aren't subscribed, but they're watching. So thank you for watching. Moving on to environment art. Our environment art team, as we have mentioned previously, have been working pretty hard on some cool Empyrean objects as well as Kalar. That's been their focus. They did a bunch of other stuff for previous races in the past, and so now they're just kind of like making the world really feel vibrant and unique per race. And right now, these are the Empyrean ones. You're going to be seeing dummies, podiums, little spices and wine. That was that little box that you saw earlier. A stool, which is so pretty. A
Yeah,
cooking
these are
pit,
awesome.
a street sign, and a table that is, yeah, very cool stuff. Obviously, the more things that we have in the world, the more we can fill up the world with beautiful stuff for you guys to see. We know that a lot of you want to see very unique spaces every time there's a new city. So that's definitely something we're trying to portray, but also keeping them within the racial and cultural kind of guidelines that we've set for ourselves. With like the materials that they use and the gemstones that they use and the style and the just kind of like how everything comes together is quite beautiful. And then we have the Kalar stuff, which you're going to see is a little bit more blocky, less like sharp pointed edges and things of that sort. And this is a work in progress boat. You've seen a few work in progress boats in the past. This is like early stages of it. There's a chest, road sign, a sofa, and some table stuff as well. But
Yeah, these look all great. I mean, the art, we have such talented artists. And
amazing.
just over this last, couple of weeks, there were Tristan and Mia and Hal, um, everybody on the artist, Michael Bacon, everybody on the art teams are incredibly talented and really threw in a lot of hours over this last week to get this UE5 announcement ready, and showcasing some of the lumen and nanite features in this little walkthrough that we did. So
Yeah.
big shout out to them. You guys did an awesome job. Amazing.
We love you.
We need hearts in chat. Hearts in
Yeah.
chat
Lots of hearts in chat for our artists. They are
for
quite
for our
wonderful people.
artists.
Moving on from there, we'll move on to our character goodies. We have, this is by Danny. This was the Vestiges of the Steel Bloom. And I have a turntable of it as well. So you can kind of see that. The 3D model.
Oh yeah, it looks great. Love it.
Yeah. And I think a lot of you saw in game Steven's armor how like reflective things were in the world. It's just quite gorgeous once you see everything like actually in the game and how the cloth feels and looks
Yeah.
as you move and interact, and even how weather is going to affect that stuff is very, very neat. Just brings everything to life, the little small details that you notice. And I think this one Steven showed off in game as well, which is the Carmine carapace. We have a 3D render of that as well, and you got to see it in game as well with in-game lighting. Obviously, when you're
Oh
in
yeah,
game,
I had
lighting
that on in
changes.
the in game.
Yeah. This one was the one that I really had a lot of fun designing. So it was very cool.
Very cool. The face really reminds me of Shredder.
Yeah. It's very much like a Renkai
Oh yeah,
set.
yeah.
And then we have the Moonstrider, which you also saw in game. Here are some like more high res images of the Moonstrider with someone riding them, and a new hairstyle if you
I love
hadn't
the
seen that hairstyle.
Moonstrider. This was one of the first. I think this is one of the first mounts actually that we concepted. In addition to the
It was before me.
in addition to the Dawnbreaker.
Very cool. And I think I have a 3D, turntable of that. Very, very cool. And last, but never mind, not last. I have a couple more. We have the pet, the wretched, let's go here. The wretched Rafflesia. There we go, Rafflesia.
Rafflesia.
Yeah, I'm like, I designed this, but saying the name is hard. English is hard, but really cool. Very neat. And you kind of got to see this
Like
in game.
somebody said, "Feed me, Seymour."
Yeah, I could definitely see that vibe for sure.
Oh yeah.
And then moving on, you saw Stephen riding this bad boy, which is the Drake of the Canopy. I so want this as like a little model piece that I can use when I'm doing tabletop stuff.
Oh yeah.
Looks
I
so
think
cool.
there's still some effects needed on that. I told Jim it might be cool if after some of the flaps or something, little like particles
Leaf
of
particles.
October leaves come out. Yeah.
Yeah. I liked to imagine this as, you see a leaf kind of floating down the sky from far away, but as it gets closer, you're like, that's not a leaf.
That's not a leaf.
That's not a leaf.
It's a leaf dragon.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
So Manny worked on this one, which is cool. Um,
Yeah, great job, Manny.
yeah,
Looks great.
very beautiful. And I believe we can move on to our Q&A from there. Again,
Awesome.
thank you all so much for putting all the love in chat for our artists. They are quite amazing. We try to showcase some of the stuff they're proud of each month. And, we'd be here forever if we showed off every art piece. Plus, we want to keep some stuff a little bit more, exciting for you guys to experience as you see them in game. And I think there have been some questions in regards to like cosmetic items and that front. I think we've explained this quite a few times, but just to kind of reiterate that, just because I know that it has come up more recently because we've got a lot of new people into our community. Really, what you're helping us do, if you decide to do that, you do not have to back or support us. We completely understand if you don't want to. Put your money where your mouth is type of thing. But I think that from our perspective, we're going to be creating these creatures. We're going to be creating these NPCs. We're going to be creating these buildings to build out the world and the cultures of our world. And really what you're doing is just helping support that. Each one of those creatures is creatures that fills the world. Each one of those buildings are buildings that are going to, make the world come to life. And so we're going to need a lot of those. And these are allowing us to kind of create variations and do them a lot faster.
Yeah.
And we're already going to do it anyway. So,
As I have said many times in the past, the whole purpose of our development process being transparent, being open, is that you don't have to buy a package actually to participate. You can be a voice from the community. You can observe people playing. You can give your experiences and feedback, or you cannot. Nobody should feel that they have to back the project to see it come to life. It's coming to life regardless of that.
yeah.
You do it because you want to support us, and that's fine. And if you don't want to, that's also fine as well. We want to hear your voice and we want you to be part of the community. So that's a very important aspect. Nothing we offer in the pre-order packages are power driven. They don't give any competitive advantage to an individual who backs the game. You can observe the alpha tests and the beta tests and learn what other people who are participating in those tests can learn.
And people won't
that's
just be able to use those cosmetics like right off the bat at level 1. I think that's that's what people people think is going to happen. You have to
Right.
own the
Yeah, you have to
item,
earn them.
and
Yeah.
the item has to have a cosmetic slot on it that correlates with that item.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to see 100 million people running around with
And
these.
for those of you who are
To
familiar
be
with the
clear,
project, you hear us say this 1,000
yeah.
times, but we obviously always have new people who join the community, and we want to make sure, that they're aware of that as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate it because I did notice, like on Reddit and a few other spaces, that it was coming up again. And I know we've gone in there. Our community team's amazing. They've already been replying to those comments, and I saw that even you guys, as community members, have been doing that. So we really
Yeah,
appreciate you reiterating that message for us.
it's super. I've said this in the past. I'll say it again. We have an amazing community already, and the game hasn't even launched. So
Yeah.
you guys helping out, kind of explain stuff to new users, give them the links to the knowledge bases so that they can catch up, the cool video links. Like, being a welcoming community is a very good thing. And really, it's what MMOs are all about.
No,
I mean,
not 100 billion players per server. I was exaggerating.
oh my goodness, did you say 100 million players per
I
server?
was joking.
You
I
could,
don't even think I said server, but
yeah,
people took it that way. So I saw a
yeah.
comment. I'm like, no,
I mean,
quenching that right now.
no,
No,
not like this.
not like this. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, let's move on to our questions and then we'll wrap up. This has been a long one. So thank you all for enduring it with us. And we hope that you really have enjoyed it and that we've answered a lot of your questions. And if we don't answer your questions here live, a lot of them are probably repeat questions. So if you asked a question in the forums, I will be replying to that thread today. All my staff is gone, so I have to do it today. But I will be replying and answering your questions. So if you didn't get answered here live, please check that. And so these are the non-repeat questions. First one is from Emberstone, and they want to know about escort quests. Are there escort quests planned where the escortee is walking and running at the same movement speed we are? So often in a lot of MMORPGs, you'll be like, you'll have an escort question. You're like, oh my God, I have to walk like so slow with this person, or they're
It
running too
depends.
fast and you have to keep up with them.
I foresee these, if there are escort oriented quest lines, utilizing different speeds at different portions of the escort.
Ooh.
I think that makes it interesting. But short answer is yes, there are going to be different speeds that are going to be utilized. So you might be walking through one area and then they might start running and you might have to keep up, and that might be timed for certain, like, ambushes that are intended along the design path, right? Like, if you don't address that ambush in a quick manner, your escortee has already started running off to the next thing and now he's getting ambushed by the next thing, right?
Oh my gosh, the chat's like, can I kill the person I'm escorting? You guys are so mean.
I mean, maybe you can. Who knows? What if questing had a pass or fail and both were legitimate rewards, in the sense that,
Ooh.
right? Perhaps if it fails and you kill no, I'm just joking. But if you kill the person,
Some other person finds out that you killed them and is like, hey.
or not even that, maybe you accrue not corruption points. Maybe you accrue like negative
Faction
reputation, right?
Yeah.
And that might be a predicate for you to accept a more seedy quest line in the back alleys of a node. Like, you might have to hit a certain negative reputation before you get some bad
Don't tell them
actors that
that,
are
Steven.
coming
They're
to.
gonna do. There's some
is
people out there that are gonna do some evil stuff just because they want to find it.
Yes.
He's like, yes.
I mean, it's good because we were having a discussion like 3 or 4 weeks ago, Jeremy Guess and the design team, on reputation scores and what those reputation scores mean on a per faction basis, right? The more good aligned or civilization building aligned tasks that you complete, you get higher positive reputation. But if you get low or bad reputation, you could be deemed enemy of the state of a node. You could be deemed kind of a bad actor, and it might raise prices for you, but it also might open up certain quest lines that, the darker, seedier side of the world are interested in communicating with individuals like yourself, right? And this could be reputation on a per node basis, right? It's not,
see thieves.
You're not just,
you start seeing thieves can't like on the walls.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a total tangent, but go ahead.
It's okay. People like it. Our next question is from Noelsy. Let me know how I'm supposed to pronounce that. It's about dueling. Will you be able to initiate a duel within a freehold or a city?
Yeah. Yeah, duels won't be considered a part of the flagging system, right? The duels are going to be a self-contained event that gets opted into by the inviter and the participants, and in that
It's
sense,
like
they
an
won't get
Agni
attacked.
Kai in Airbender.
Right. It's a little. The guards look at you in the city and they're like, "Oh my God, not these larpers again." I'm just kidding. I'm just
I would be like, Steven,
joking.
I call upon you for a
So
battle.
I take the
Duel
glove
me
out,
at
slap the
dawn.
player. Yeah, exactly.
Slap you with a sandal. No. Uh,
As a matter of fact, we should include whenever there's like a duel, we should include some like texts from the guards as they walk by. Is like, not these larpers again. I don't know. It'd be funny.
we
Anyways.
should have a sandal duel as just like a fun. Just slap
Mhm.
each other with a sandal. It's like the melee version. All right, our next question is from Nostra, who wants to know about siege scrolls. Do completed siege scrolls expire, or can you hoard them forever? So
No,
can you do the quest
they
line
do.
and keep them?
So they do expire. And the method right now is when you complete a quest line and you're going to receive the scroll, you must stipulate the node that that scroll is valid for. And then there is a lifetime on the scroll, right? So yes, there is a lifetime, and the scrolls are determined by you at completion of quest with a name on it.
All right. And George Black and Pickadoliver want to know about max level
And by
as
the way, the
oh,
mayor
go
is
ahead.
made, I'm sorry, real quick. The mayor is made aware of what scroll has been generated if their node is the one that's named on the scroll. So like
Ooh,
you may not have placed it yet and it has a lifetime,
so they can
but
prepare.
the mayor gets some informant that tells them, hey, someone's out there and they're trying to gun for you right now. So you better be prepared.
Or you can try to diplomacy your way out of the situation if you can figure out who it is.
Yeah.
She was
Diplomacy.
like, "Yeah, that's not happening."
If someone goes through the effort to attain the scroll, it's unlikely they're going to have
I don't
diplomacy.
know. Some people are pretty ballsy. They're like, "Look what I got." They're waving it around. So, George Black and Pickett Oliver want to know about max level. As an MMO player, what do you consider a good carrot on a stick to keep players once you've reached max level slash gear progression?
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of elements in different progression paths in the game, whether it be accomplishments through the crafting system and becoming a master of the economy, whether it be political player driven systems and achievements and trophies that you can hold on to or lose, like castles, aspiring to become mayor, the types of wars and different PvP elements, the raids that you can help to gear out your guild. It's like, there's a lot of traditional
Your
MMO,
house, your
right? You're
freehold.
absolutely your house. There's the way that Ashes is constructed is there are multiple paths of progression from a PVX perspective, a kind of a wide net perspective that players have interests in, and you're not going to be able to become the master of everything, right? So you're going to have to pick and choose, but even picking and choosing that gives you a place within that aspect of the world, at a place that's going to be something that you can build up a reputation around. And a lot of those are player driven and are cyclical in nature of the gameplay loop, right? They don't necessarily have an end game state, right? Because that can fluctuate, that can change from moment to moment. And it's those types of fluctuations, it's those types of unexpected outcomes that keep you involved, that keep you interested, that keep you emotionally invested in the outcome of these types of more player driven aspects.
And you can totally go out and be a fisherman. I think someone was mentioning that in chat.
Fisherman, yeah,
You can
yeah.
totally do that. Just be careful. There might be some pirates out there or some big
Yes.
creatures in the ocean causing some
Pirates are big
commotion.
fishes. Yes.
uh, our next question is from Dante Machiavelli, and they want to know about costumes. Will there be any cosmetics or armor pieces that are more revealing than the default appearance of a character when they're not wearing anything?
Than the default appearance. What does that mean? Like, if you were, is
Like,
there going to be more?
can you be naked or wearing like a swimsuit? I don't know. I'm
Oh,
not sure about their exact specifics, but basically,
you
are we
can't
going to
be
have more
naked.
showy body part armor?
There's going to be there's probably going to be armors, well, probably not, I don't know. There's going to be probably armors or costumes or clothing sets that you can, wear that are going to be more revealing. But they're not going to be you being naked. Um, that's a different type of game. Not one.
I
Not one
know.
that-
We keep getting people asking about sliders for certain body parts and stuff too.
Oh, there might be sliders. Yeah, but there's not gonna be naked sliders. So,
We're not rated M for mature. We're definitely
there's
trying to make
nothing wrong
sure
with sliders.
our
Sliders are
game
just
is accessible to a variety of people.
yeah.
And that is all of our questions for today.
Ooh.
So we've
Hey,
made it.
I guessed we would make it to 12:30 and it's 12:35. It's not
Yep.
bad.
Yeah, I messaged Steven. I was like, I think that we could do it in an hour, but if we keep tangenting, we'll probably be over for sure. But I think we're good.
Yeah.
It's kind of our last day of the work
Oh,
year.
it is
It's
today. Today
crazy.
is the last day of the
Yeah.
work week, and then we're off until January 3rd.
Yeah. So it's very generous of you and John to give that to the team. I know everyone at the company has been very thankful. So
Oh,
um yeah, so I think that that's it for our December development update. We had a lot of stuff to showcase to you all, and obviously our teams have all been working very, very hard on everything. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for sharing information with other people. We saw a lot of new faces today too. So for those of you who are just joining in, there's a lot of places to keep in touch with us. You can follow us on all of our social platforms, Discord and forums. We're talking to people daily, even on all of our social platforms with Twitter, Facebook, uh, YouTube. You can follow us right here on Twitch so you don't miss out on any future streams. But yeah, we're doing a lot of stuff. We're keeping in touch with you guys on a daily basis. We continue to put out content. So if you're interested in following along with our journey, please do so. And of course, we will have another one of these in January. We're probably going to go back to our normal last Friday of the month time frame. These last few months have been a little bit weird because of the holidays. So we appreciate you guys kind of working around our schedule a little bit. And we hope that you all have a wonderful holiday and New Year.
absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in. We hope you guys had an awesome year, and next year is going to be amazing for Ashes, and I hope it's going to be amazing for you guys as well. We really love and appreciate all of your support, tuning in each month and participating in our discussions and being on the Discord. And it means a lot to us, and it is a big motivation factor for everyone on the team. So we love you guys, and we hope you have an awesome holidays and a great new year.
Yeah, we don't get to express the thanks from all of our team, but they seriously, it's very, very loving. It means a lot to them, and we try to share as much as we can with them. All of the wonderful things that you guys say, and we send out reports every month to showcase a lot of all of that as well. So keep sending us your feedback, keep sending us the love, and of course, don't forget we will have a new dev discussion coming in January about griefing. So, I know a lot of you PvPers out there and non PvPers will want to get your say in that. So please, please do keep an eye on it. And of course, our December cosmetics will swap over on January 12th. And we will see you in the new year. Thanks,
Bye,
everybody.
everybody.